Hey, Megan.
Hey, Steffi, how are you
Hey,
doing?
I'm good. Hey, Katelyn.
Hi,
Hello.
Caitlin.
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you guys?
We're good. Megan, would you like to let everybody know who we got here as our guest tonight? Besides saying hello to Katelyn.
Hi, Caitlin. So, Caitlin, I'm going to let you introduce yourself and then I'm going to read your bio.
I'm Katelyn Victoria Razumovsky. I'm the owner of KV Dressage and Equimend. So I do dressage horses and we do equine rehabilitation.
Woohoo! And Caitlin is a bronze, silver, gold medalist. Oh, where did my. Haha. And she is a little R judge and an accomplished FEI rider and coach. Let's see here. Katelyn offers a great sales program, KV Dressage, and at Equiment, Katelyn blends precision, empathy, and evidence-based methods, equine rehabilitation from surgery or injury. Our mission is to provide veterinarians, trainers, and other equine professionals with effective solutions that complement their treatment program and enhances their clients' horses' overall well-being. We believe in healing is a partnership between science, precision of care, and passion. Our therapies and services are designed to integrate seamlessly with the work they already do, helping horses recover more comfortably and support the path to the most optimal outcome. I think this is so, so cool. I saw your post on Facebook and wanted to hear all about the services you're offering. But first, just start out, how did you fall in love with horses? How did you become a horse trainer? And then let's get right into it.
Yeah. So when I was a wee little one, I had a best friend and we had Barbie horses and we kind of got bored and we were like, let's figure out how to do the real thing. And so we went to our moms and we were like, we want ponies, like legit ponies. And of course, our moms were kind of, young horse girls too when they were our age. And so they were all for it. And I don't think my mom quite realized the beast she was creating. But it's taken me like all over the world. I've lived in trainers' attics, different countries, all around chasing this crazy horse world and dream. And now we're settled in Kansas City, of all places. It's a wonderful city, though. And just chipping away, making the horse world better, horses' lives better. So, yeah.
Where are you originally from? Kansas City or somewhere else?
No, I'm from Boston. Yeah, so from the Northeast, and I was a Pam Goodrich kid. Lendon Gray went up through dressage for kids and did young riders out there. And then I spent time in Germany. And then when I came back to the States, I worked for a farm for several years in Texas and then ended up meeting my now husband, who was based in Kansas City. And I followed him. But I was like, Kansas City, horse mecca. So, yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I don't quite hear the Boston accent, so I'm kind of impressed. So are you on the Missouri or Kansas side of K City?
So we're Kansas side,
Okay.
but we're like a mile or two from the Missouri state line. So we're 20 minutes from KCI Airport. Great location. I-70 cuts right below our farm. So we have super easy access to horses in Colorado, horses in Oklahoma, Texas, Missouri, Illinois, Iowa. We're a really good central location in Kansas City, and a whole lot of the major haulers go straight through us. So.
Awesome. And so how did you decide to start your new business?
Yeah. Honestly, it was a tiny bit selfish. I wanted my horses to have access to awesome therapy equipment and to be able to enhance their lives and help my training. And it was just motivated by making my little herd at home feel fabulous all the time. And, you know, with everything, we have horses get dings and dents and injuries. So we were already kind of a little bit in the rehab space. And I just saw the need of a true rehab program, right? We kind of all shoot at the dark when our horses get injured, especially soft tissue injuries. It's such a long process and it is so labor intensive. And if we're rehabbing several horses as trainers, that's a huge chunk of our day that we're not on a horse riding training. And it just doesn't fit very well. Like we can't, as much as we try, it's hard for us to truly dedicate the time to be so precise and so scheduled and so methodical about rehabbing these injuries where it's so important. We want our horses to be top. We want them to rehab and get back on their little hooves working hard for us. And so I just felt this need. It is something that the Western industry uses quite a lot. So there are some great rehabs in Kentucky and Texas. And I just kind of applied that to our way of doing things in the dressage jumper world.
And are you focused only on warm bloods, dressage horses, or do you work with all horses? No. And is there a difference?
So no, we'll do everything. Currently, we have a thoroughbred in that's a young racing horse that needs to rehab from a summer sore. And we've had a world champion quarter horse in our stables rehabbing from surgery, all different kinds, just a Morgan quarter horse cross that had colic surgery that it's just they couldn't support it at home. So no, we'll take any horse that needs our help. We're happy. We're not just warm bloods, but and I don't truly feel the difference now. Every horse has their own character. Every horse struggles with different things. So the thoroughbreds, they're a little higher strung. We structure their stall rest a little differently than some of the warm bloods that are kind of happy chilling out. But it's a little bit more horse dependent rather than breed or discipline dependent.
Do you have a couple of big veterinary schools relatively close, or maybe one, or are you working with like a veterinary, do you have like referrals from big vet clinics or?
Yeah, so Kansas City is home to several amazing vets. One is Heartland Equine, and that's Dr. Carlson. We have Will Heighton Freeze. They're amazing as well. And then to the west of us, we have K-State with a whole slew of fabulous vets there. To the east of us, we have MU that has some really cool technologies with the CAT scan. Ooh, you put me on the spot and I blanked. But I know K-State has an MRI and everything. So we are really in this hub area that is surrounded by super talented vets that are able to direct each horse's care. And we don't partner with one single vet. If you send us a horse and you have your vet that wants to oversee the care, prescribe the things that need to happen, design the rehab, we'll work with them. Even if it's distance wise, we can easily do videos and take measurements and take like all these different data points for them to help guide them in directing us through the process. So we basically are just I kind of say it to the vets is we're the help you wish you had when you send the horse home. Sometimes you send these horses, they don't need to be hospitalized, but maybe home's not a great option. The person works full time, or the trainer's too busy, or they just don't have the facilities to rehab the horses. They don't have small level dry lots or, the ability to hand walk a horse 4 times, 5 minutes, We even do a lot of proprioception training and therabands and all these. We track biomechanics. So as they're getting hand walked and coming back, we can see if their push off is a little different from the day before on a certain leg or on both hind legs or both front legs. And we can kind of give the feedback to the vets to see if that's an interesting data point that they need to then respond to.
What kind of injuries and surgeries are you helping them come back from? Like, just so people understand who could call you, right?
Yeah. So the classic suspensory desmitis or suspensory tears, any kind of suspensory surgeries. We've had, let's go through the list, laminitis, colic surgery, rehab, just your like check ligaments, superficial, deep digital, any kind of soft tissue. We've had, this is like now a new one's a summer sore for us that had to have surgery and now be closely monitored. We've had some complicated geldings, surgeries that needed monitoring, wounds that need grafting, that need special bandaging, or large open wounds that need to be carefully managed. We have a red light, we have a microcurrent machine, all kinds of things. So I hate to say like, we'll just do it all, but we will gladly do everything. If you have a horse with an ailment and you just don't have the ability or the time or the confidence to handle the horse through that, we can be your team.
I love that. I wish you were closer, but it's also nice to know they can be shipped. For instance, I had a horse that colicked, and I was way too close to that horse, and I went crazy. It would have been so much better to give you a call and say, take him, just because it's so in depth. And maybe you could talk about that, like, because to me, I'm thinking, oh my God, why would you start a business and do this? Because the pressure and the, the highs, the lows, to me, it sounds really tough. Could you talk on that?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I didn't consider it first. Actually, guys, let's cut. No, let's see. I had a passion for it and I had an interest in it. And the thing is, I just get to thinking, and I can't help it. And this has been in my brain for so long that it was time to let it come out and come to fruition and see if it could be something incredible for the horse world. And honestly, it stems from, I do everything possible that I can do with horses in my care to make them great and to make them feel great. They work so hard for us. I don't know if as much as they're predisposed in the breeding and they have this curiosity of it, like, I don't know if they spend their days going, man, I wish I could have done just one more 20-meter circle. And I just wanted them to be able to do that one more 20-meter circle and feel great about it and overcome training hurdles because maybe of this, physical thing that just needed support. And I think I did get a little tired of seeing a lot of training happen that had a lot of friction in it and a lot of struggle in it. And it could have been something that was just easily supported even by twice a week PEMF, something so simple and so easy to do. And you would have a whole lot less friction in your training and a whole deeper relationship that's even more willing and more kind with your horse. And so it stemmed from wanting to be the best horse trainer possible. And then it just really took off. And yes, now we lie awake at night going, oh, we need to collect this data and do this and this notes. And you should see our binders on these horses. Like, even my training horses, the things we monitor is, I'm impressed by it.
That's awesome. So, what are like some of the latest therapies that you guys have brought into your business? What are the
Yeah.
most recent ones? What did you start out with? What have you added on?
Yeah, so you heard me mention PEMF. I've always been a big fan of that. So we just added on a whole PEMF machine. So we have a semi 10. I've always had the Activomed blankets and the Sport Innovation boots. So those have been originally, and then we got to add the machine for even greater results with PEMF.
Can we talk about what PEMF is?
Yeah, it's pulsed electric magnetic fields. It's a therapy that you can kind of think of it as like it awakens the cells in that area, and it allows ATP to be formed and released. So through that, more blood flows brought to the area, inflammation's taken out. It's got a little bit of pain relief as well, because of that blood flow and inflammation being reduced and everything. It amplifies healing. Excuse me, I'm going to reach towards my screen for 2 seconds. It's a very kind of systemic, nice, easy therapy. What you'll never see us do is do any of the therapies that truly should be directed by vets. So you will never see us with even a radial shockwave machine. There's just some things that, even though it's legal to own and have, I don't quite think it's a responsible thing. So PEMF is kind of along those lines, where it causes a little disruption in the site and brings new blood flow in, but it's very safe. So we have that. We have a red light. It goes up to 880 nanometers, so it gets deep into the tissue. And that has a lot of diodes in it, so we're able to be quite effective with the red light therapy. We have a microcurrent machine, which I mentioned a little bit, and it was, at first I was a little like, ooh, this might be a little too woo-woo. Like, I don't know. I'm telling you, the reason I've invested in these things is either I personally have benefited from them in my own body, or I've seen amazing results in just trying them on my horses. And I'll tell you, that microcurrent machine, so you can think about it as a little bit like TENS or EMS, but the horses can't feel it. It's even weaker. And it amplifies the natural electric signals in the body. And because of that, like, if you think there's an injury, electrical signals kind of like, they get disrupted through the injury. And it amplifies them enough, they kind of like pass through that area and get like released and aligned again. And it's a 3-hour treatment. Yeah. And so it's kind of hard for the lay person to do, right? But we are able to do it. And like, the healing that comes from this little machine is amazing. I'm really impressed by it. Like, I can truly feel a difference, even with the horses that may have tweaked a back muscle or anything. Like, that machine does amazing things for them. We have the proprioception balance pad. So as a horse back into
Can I
work.
interrupt you?
Yeah.
How often would we do the what did you call it? The microcurrent therapy?
So yeah. For the first 30 days, it's every day. And then, and then dependent on what we're treating, it's either we kind of continue, and it has different levels. So like, at first it's a very anti-inflammatory level. And then as it mixes in kind of anti-inflammatory pain relief and healing. So the levels kind of do this in it as you progress through the 30 days. And then if it's a normal sport horse, my training horses, they'll just wear it twice a month, or they'll wear it at horse shows and do the 3-hour treatment. But if we're still healing, a summer sore, open wound, a real deep tendon issue, we'll continue the daily treatment past the 30 days.
And is it a blanket, just to give me an idea? Because I've never heard of this. What is
It's
it?
I wonder if I could hold up my phone, a photo, or if you go on the Equimend Facebook page, there's a picture of it, or on my website, equimend.com or kc.com.
Let's go ahead and do that if I can hopefully.
And it has little connectors that we use ultrasound gel on. And we're able to get the connection through the hair coat to the skin. Because if you think like the TENS unit with just sticky pads that they just stick straight to our skin, can't stick it to the horse's hair. So we use the ultrasound gel. And then we've got a few good tricks up our sleeve. Yeah. So if you go to, right there, scroll down, see it? It's on the horse's leg. Yeah, that's it.
So it only goes on the leg, or do you do the whole body?
That's
cool.
It is super cool. That one is an ARC equine. And they also make human ones, but no. So for the 30 days, we rotate between healthy legs. And so one leg doesn't get treated too long, but it's a kind of a whole body treatment. So yeah, you're not kind of sticking it on the one place that you want to help. And that's why I was a little like, ooh, this might be too, like, I'm curious about this. And so I had my staff put it on a horse that I thought, kind of warmed up a little tight in the back. And I was like, but don't tell me when you're going to do it. Just like, let's see. And I leaned over and I was like, was today the day? And they were like, oh yeah, it was his first day. I was like, he feels like a completely different horse. So I'm a believer. And there is research. So every therapy we have has some research that is either applicable to horses and a good research side. So everyone can publish their own studies. That's wonderful for them. But let's make sure we have good sample sizes, smart measurements, good standard deviation kind of stuff, right? And so the microcurrent actually has quite a lot of research on the human side and then some anecdotal stuff on the horse's side. So it was something I was willing to try and bring in because of the human-based research.
I saw that, Megan. I'm trying to formulate like the question in my head because there's like a lot. Like, been in the horse industry a long time, and I've and Megan has too, and I'm sure you have, just seen such the variety of injuries. I did notice on your website, like it looks like you have people that haul their horses in for certain treatments. They don't necessarily stay or live there, but maybe they come in for a treatment, they leave, maybe they're coming every other day, maybe they're coming 2 or 3 times a week. Do you have a lot of that happens?
It's a small portion. It's not our main focus, but we're super happy to help. Like if your horse needs PEMF treatment once a month, haul over and our grooms can treat it. All of our grooms are trained, have gone through the specific product training. It's not like I taught them. I let the professionals teach them. But yeah, we do a la carte services. So with some of our therapies, it's beneficial if you want to haul over, especially if you're getting ready for regional championships next week, or a quarter horse sale, or your futurities, things like that. Horses can come in on a daily basis or a day basis, or they can even come for a week. I have a few clients that if they go out of town and they're rehabbing something, their horse is with us while they're out of town. So there's and especially if it's a horse that it's safe to haul and the injury is safe to haul. That's a great way for us to be able to support horse owners so they don't have to kind of stop their vacations, or they don't have to worry because, boarding barns, they do their best, but this isn't their role. Their role is not to medicate your horse multiple times a day or to hand walk it or to notice if the horse is stressed in the stall and pacing, right? And that is huge in the recovery of an animal, keeping their systems happy and their mind quiet and their mind stimulated enough that they're just not going crazy and then on any available moment re-injure themselves. So.
And in the recovery, do you ride the horses coming back?
Yeah, we can. So we have a few, yeah. I'm a racehorse. I don't know. I'm 5'9". Not be my role. No, I have rehab riders as well. So we're able to do the 1 line of trot, 2 lines of trot. We're able to get you back to walk, trot, canter, ready to go. Nice little package with a bow on it and say like, he's ready, just ride. So yeah, we have exercise riders that even have experience in the Western world. So.
And so how long does that typically take? Because I know with a suspensory injury, depending on obviously the tear, it could take up to 9 months. So an owner could plan on the horse being with you for 9 months plus, right?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, it's something to think about. It absolutely. But at any part of their journey back, they can also come to us. So if it is going really well at home, but you're just not sure about the initial riding part or just the stall rest part, or at any point, we're here for the horse owners and the trainers and the vets. So we can be part of the entire journey, or we can be utilized in a specific portion.
Megan's giving me the hairy eyeball. So what are some of the things that you guys, you kind of touched on it. There's certain things that you guys, therapies you're not going to buy because you don't want to do it. But are there certain injuries that you're like, I don't know. I don't know if we want to go down that road. Like, is there anything that has you kind of gut pause and go, I'm not sure we can handle that?
Maybe eyeballs. I'm willing to do some eyeballs, but so here's the deal. We do have kind of a flat fee. It includes everything. So if the injury needs 24-hour care, like eyeballs, that they need treatment every 3 or 4 hours, it doesn't fit into the current status. So I will be talked into anything, but it's a very different creature doing through the night care. Now our horses, they get night check. Our barn staff is there in the wee hours of the morning. So they truly never go alone for more than a couple hours. But we currently don't do therapies through the night. So anything that maybe is a little bit critical care, we want to consider, is the hospital the best place for the horse? So if it's something that truly needs to be hospitalized, we are not a vet hospital. And we certainly will help you once it's not a critical care situation. And if that means I have to treat an eyeball through the night, we can certainly talk about it.
So do you have like veterinary technicians? Do you guys work? Is there a local vet in the area? Like if you've got a horse that's come in, it was a vet school's like, yeah, we're pretty sure it's ready to go. It's going to go to Katelyn. And you guys get it. And a day later, you're like, we have a major problem. Like, let's say it's 8 o'clock at night. Do you guys have like a clinic you're working with? Or do you turn around and get a hold of the owner in the vet school and be like, you're going back? Like, cause it's tricky, right? Like, you could, as you're rehabbing maybe horses that came out of surgery, they could.
Especially colic surgery, right? The first, they say 90 days, there's a lot of checkpoints, right? So especially one with resected bowel, those first few weeks as they start to truly take on, full stem hay and stuff, it's tricky and it needs to be carefully managed and carefully watched. And so yes, to your point, we have an incredible vet just 15 minutes away. So he can be to me fast. I can be to him fast. And as you come to Equimend, if you're from way out and you don't have a treating vet very close to us that could handle an emergency situation, we automatically have you set up an account with a vet that could respond in an emergency if need be. So we are always set, ready to go to manage any kind of critical situation. And if that means we're, hauling a horse back, then we do what we need to do, right? So like, if we're here to rehab and care for the horse and that's a piece of it, we're equipped to do that.
Let's go back to some of your other therapies. So you were just about to talk about the balance pads. Can you explain those? I've seen pictures. I haven't actually seen them in person. Tell us what they do.
Yeah, so we have a couple of pieces of therapy equipment that are just utilized in the exercise rehab portion. And also we're here to do fit and finishing for sales and auctions, or get, a barrel horse legged up for the buckle series or any kind of thing like that. So these balance pads are great because every horse has their compensations and their leg they love. Like even myself driving home, I find myself like kind of twisting a certain way every single time. So we use the balance pads because we can't speak English to our horses and have them understand, right? So we put balance pads in key spots, either front feet, hind feet, or all four. You can even do them diagonally. And it really makes the horse shift and feel, because they're standing on such an unstable surface, but in a controlled way, where they're kind of always leaning. So like I have a horse with a high, low front foot, and he naturally is just going to develop shoulders a little bit uneven. And the balance pads give him a moment to kind of reset the central nervous system to think rather like this, he thinks like this, right? And it's interesting because we can watch the kind of the biofeedback that they're giving themselves, and we can use it in a way to rehab the horses, right? So like if they get on the balance pads and they constantly go like toe first, right? That tells us something. Or if they lean back and go heels, or if they're constantly stepping one leg off, we can use all those little keys to kind of see where they're at and what's hard for them and what they need to feel. And then also when we're rehabbing the soft tissue, in some cases, there's a reason these suspensory desmitis cases happen, or these strains in collateral ligaments and things like that. And that could be like a long-term compensation that finally just wore down that stress point, or they can develop compensations because they've been dealing with this injury for quite a long time. So we use that as a really way to peel back layers and get the horse back to truly as balanced and straight as possible. And it's a little bit the same thing as the TheraBands in the recovery as well. So we'll hand walk or we'll trot with the TheraBand system, which has a belly band and a hind leg band. And it's not about the resistance caused in the bands. It's not like us using exercise bands. It's merely kind of the presence that these bands bring to the horse's body. And it makes them feel, it's kind of like when a fitness trainer puts their hand on your back and is like, hey, engage your lats. It's the presence of the band in general that helps them take a little bit different biomechanic and open their back, or utilize the hind legs equally, or tie into their core if they're rehabbing from a kissing spine surgery or something.
With the TheraBands, how long do you actually have them on, or do you have a process? Because the thing I don't like about the TheraBands, there's never a release until you take them off, right? And I've seen people ride in them for 20, 30 minutes. And when I've used them, like I have this small process of like, here's 1 minute, here's now, and we take 2 weeks and then we increase. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Can you?
Yeah. Just think about it too. If like I walked into the gym and put a whole bunch of plates on the leg press and just kept going, right? Like that's going to hurt. Let's build up to things, especially too in the rehab process. You have to be, and this is why the biomechanic tracking portion comes in, so we can measure stress and strain on the body. Because sometimes we can't see it, right? And sometimes a horse is like doing their job and we're just like, everything's great. Like they're able to trot with the bands. Well, no, yeah, you're so right. Bands in the TheraBand company itself, this is what they recommend. You slowly add up to it. So just because your horse isn't lathered in sweat at the end of it doesn't mean that they're not doing a fabulous job. So you need to start slow, and starting slow would be within certain boundaries of each horse. So a super healthy, fit horse, they can start 5 minutes at the walk. But yeah, no, they are not something you would put on and do a full ride on, especially on a horse rehabbing.
Okay, tell us about, what did you call it? The biomechanical tracking? What is that? I've never heard of it. Is it like a lameness test where you put the yarmulke on and the, yeah.
So yeah, the lameness indicator system, MU and K-State has them. So they're really close to us. And they utilize that where they wear the little hat. They have the sensor on the SI and the front leg sensor. Yeah, that's incredible. That's not the technology we have. We have basic technology, but where the value comes in of having our small biomechanic tracker, and it's a clip, is the amount of data we're able to take, and from that we're able to extrapolate if there are changes. And sometimes, especially it's a little bit the same premise of taking the temperature with the microchip. Have you ever seen that? That's truly actually not like a core body temperature, but because you measure that specific way frequently, you're able to see changes. So our biomechanic tracking equipment is not nearly as advanced as what you'll find at the veterinary schools, but we're not diagnosing with it, right? We're just tracking. So ours, we're able to track push off, symmetry, and loading. And because we measure the same way every day through the whole rehab, we're able to then see deviations off of norm. So I have horses that every day their symmetry's to the left a little bit. And you can tell because, like, again, everyone twists in certain ways. And over time, you'll see like them get closer to normal. And then they might have a day that is completely off to the right. And you have to think, why is this happening? Was there a change? And typically it's a day where you're like, man, riding just didn't go well. But it gives you something to think about and something to track.
Took a second to get that mute button turned off. So you had briefly mentioned, you're helping horses recover from potentially laminitis. So what kind of farrier and vet support do you have for that? Because obviously both of those are going to be really key for a horse coming through a laminitis situation.
Yeah. I have some great farriers that will work hand in hand with vets. And it's a little bit, so those critical situations, those most likely will be very local. And so it will be the vet that is that horse's treating practitioner. And so we have everything from the cloud boots that give stability, or we can do the medical shoes that are needed. So yeah, to answer your question about the farrier, I have a great farrier that is totally okay working with vets. there are a few vets that have their farriers kind of as consults. And we're more than like, the more the merrier, that can come and make these horses feel better, right? So if a particular vet has their medical farrier that they want to treat, we have great areas that they can set up, bring their truck in undercover, have a super comfortable spot to work, matted area, really safe and open for the horses, really easy for the farriers to access everything. And of course, we have people that can hold and manage the horse at all times. So
what kind of therapies would you be doing? Like, let's say a horse has been really recently diagnosed and is potentially still in the acute phase. Are there therapy devices or anything that you guys have at your facility that you would be using, or is it pretty, kind of a sit and wait, or medication only, or?
During the acute phase of anything, it is very important to just be very precise with what the veterinarian prescribes. So if the vet wants us icing every couple hours, keeping the horse really quiet in a well-bedded stall, Banamine, anything, the best thing in the acute situation is we can be that precise care. So we can tell the vet it got Banamine at 9:01. It responded like, we can be the note takers, the eyes on, I have staff at the barn for hours and hours. Like, our horses are only alone for a tiny little chunk at night. So just the eyes and the ability to be super regimented with the veterinarian's directions. And that's how we can best support even the acute laminitis phase. And that is so important, specifically with laminitis, that it's methodical and precise, and the veterinarian's able to get the feedback with that, knowing their directions were exactly followed.
Okay, I have a question. For future clients, what is something you'd like to tell them that you see through all the cases, right? Like some advice to help them through this process.
Patience. And it's so hard, especially with soft tissue. You're like, how are you not healed yet? And even I struggled with that. My thing was be like, by now you've got to feel great. We have done PRP, we have done shockwave, you have had PEMF every day of your life. Like, by now you must feel great. But my patience was built when I injured my own patella tendon in my right knee. And people said, 8 months. 8 months it's going to take. And I'm like, I'm going to go get some shockwave. I'm going to get this thing. Like, we're going to be fine in a couple of weeks. No, it was exactly 8 months. It really was. And now first of all, I didn't even detach it. It was just inflamed at the insertion. It had some bony, like, it was pretty mild of an injury. So we're seeing, like, I kind of equated it, and I mean, again, I'm not a vet, but I kind of equated it to a very mild suspensory desmitis where it measures an 8.7 or a 1.7 instead of a 1.5 or something like that, right? So I thought a couple rounds of shockwave and I'll be good. Man, I did shockwave for months. I did PEMF every day. I iced it after I worked out. I finally just had to quit doing everything that hurt. Imagine that, right? And then give it the time and continue with the therapies to fully recover. And it helped put things in perspective, big time.
What about, lasering? Do you guys get into lasering? Is that still something that people look for?
Yeah. So red light and lasers are in similar families. They're very different, but they're in the same family. So we, in the past, have had a class 4 laser. I think that's a little bit strong for the day-to-day use. So we stepped away and did the red light for a little bit. And then you'll see us bring in a cold laser, probably a class 3 or 3B, that has a little bit more oomph for the red light. But the red light's still great for open wounds, sutures, skin stuff, as well as reaching deeper into the skin. But then the laser goes even deeper than that. So that'll be a technology you'll see us bring in pretty soon.
I think lasering is pretty great. So that's neat to hear. And yeah, it's amazing what they've discovered with, light, red light, the lasering, like it's impressive. And it's cool.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about your facility? Acreage, how many stalls, how big are the stalls, how small, pastures? Tell us more.
Yeah, so we have 38 stalls. We have 100 by 200 indoor, and we have a large outdoor as well. For dry lots, we have various sizes. So we have itty bitty dry lots to medium size, and they're all level, all weather footing. And I have all different kinds of pastures. So we have, kind of medium-sized pastures to several acres. And some of the pastures are flat. Some of them have small hills. And our stalls are 12 by 12 matted, a ton of bedding, because I never want to look in and go, oh, you're not comfy. And all stalls have slow feeders. So they always have brome hay in a slow feeder. They get alfalfa at night check or in the morning, depending on their turnout schedule. We feed Purina grain. I'm a big believer of the research they've done to develop the products they have. So we have Purina grain. We have heated wash racks. We have heaters in the grooming stalls, fans in all the stalls, fans in the wash racks and grooming stalls. It's little horsey paradise in Kansas City.
Sounds like I'd like to move in.
Yeah, me too.
Comfy. So what do you use? What do you have for bedding options?
A lot of our stalls are pine shavings. We've had a few that need straw brought in, and that's possible.
Do you ever have to deal with let's say you got a Hebe horse, you can't do pine, you can't do straw. Have you ever had to figure out, I don't know, here in the Midwest, we see things like somebody's like, oh, try soybeans, or Megan and I visited a lady not far from us. It was shredded cardboard. We've seen shredded newspaper, all that.
Or the hemp beddings, those are unique. And it will just depend. I say we do things a certain way, but we do things specifically for the horse we have in. So we are not a program that makes the horse fit us. We are a program that aims to fit the horse as the individual, as that specific entity. So yeah, if we have a horse that needs to come in and we have to be very careful about the bedding selection, we'll go to shredded cardboard or any kind of product that makes sense to help that horse.
Is that hard for you to locate? I think Megan and I don't actually speak for you. I think around here, it's super easy for us to get, obviously, different types of pine shavings. We've got enough farmers in the area. We can locate straw bedding. But now I know somebody that has shredded cardboard. I could probably call her in a panic and get a couple bags. But for me to find, something really unique, there's probably somewhere nearby or Tractor Supply or somebody that might have the hemp bedding. But when you start getting into some real alternative stuff, planning ahead is probably easier than, I'm getting this horse coming in from the university and it needs something, something really fancy. And you kind of have your sources sorted, because I think that would be a little bit of a stressor for me.
Absolutely. So exactly, having supplies ready is the most important thing. So we do keep quite a lot of things in stock and ready to go. When it comes to very individual specific, I don't have shredded paper at the barn, but here's the deal too, is we're in this business. And so we have quite a lot of contacts. I could easily think of a few people to call to get hooked up with very specific things. So, you're not only utilizing us, but our contacts and our community that we've built and just being professionals in this industry. So yeah, no, it is interesting. I always love making those phone calls too, being like, so I have a horse coming in and I need pure prairie grass, like not a lick of anything else in it. And I have some amazing hay guys that can hook me up with anything. Especially Midwest, alfalfa, blister beetles, trusting your hay guys, incredibly important that they know how to bale it correctly. They know how to understand what a blister beetle is and be honest about the amount it was in bloom when it baled and things like that. So yeah, our vendors are amazing people. And I like even today made a call going like, hey, do you think you could hook me up just for a day with a specific drag? Because I was like, I have this idea that I want to recondition the footing to do this and this and this. And like, do you have that? And they were like, yeah, we'll just bring it over.
I have maybe not a great question, but maybe a sad question. But so I think for a lot of owners, you're wondering after a horse has had their injury, we have a plan. Is this horse really going to come back to its full potential, right? And so how do you, I mean, obviously you rely on vets, but let's say we get to the 8, the 9 months and it's not looking good. How do you handle that?
That's the heartbreak portion, right? And so we're here to hear all the kinds of reactions to things, and we've been through it. We, have seen some cases brought in that we're just not going to be able to move the needle all the way back. And that's a discussion we have through the whole process, right? Like, hey, we're seeing these things. And it's something that's wonderful because it can happen between us as the rehab professionals, the veterinarian, and the owner. And there's this dialogue of, hey, we see this daily, and this is the response we're seeing to the therapies you gave, the work we've put in. And we are, feeling this way, or we need to really take this back because it's not progressing the way we thought it was. And it's part of the heartbreak of horses that we try to avoid, but we are here for owners to also process and be a sounding board. Decisions like that aren't just taken lightly and thrown off the cuff. They're rooted in something. And I, as a horse owner, and a steward of animals, I think it is important that we always have these key core beliefs of animal welfare, of like, it's important that the horse can stand up easily, get to food easily, keep weight on, have pain management within a manageable way for the long term, right? They can't all sit on super high painkillers for the rest of their lives. That's going to wreak havoc in a lot of other systems. So these measurements of basic horse welfare is an important thing to consider and keep track of.
And you don't have any issues with these hard conversations, because I'll be honest, I've come to these hard conversations and I'm able to have these hard conversations, but it's hard, like you want the horse to succeed. You don't want to give bad news to an owner. And do you find that you're capable of doing it? I think that's a great question to ask.
Yeah. So it's the role we take on, right? This is our responsibility. And so if we weren't willing to have uncomfortable conversations just for ourselves, based for our animals, that's something that then we probably shouldn't play this role. So yes, it sucks. We're kind of the bad guys, and you take this moment and you go like, okay, and I'll tell people like, you're allowed to have an unfiltered response to this. Like, I'm ready. It's all good. Let's talk. Like, whatever needs to come out of your mouth, we'll get it out, because because better than you just like holding it in and then leaving and having then all these questions, right? Of what, you know. So yeah, no, we've been through it, especially as trainers. It's part of the life too of saying like, hey, maybe this horse isn't completely suitable for this job, and you got to set yourself aside in those moments and do it for the horse. And so that it's our role, and that's part of the job, and it sucks. And I'm thankful I'm not the vet in some of these instances that then has to do the rest of the job. But I am there as the support to the vet, as the sounding board to the owner, and to kind of bring this clarity to some of these situations.
So I'll pivot a little from the dark to maybe a little bit not as dark. So like I bred horses for a long time, and I have foaled out mares, my own mares, you know, mares for clients. You know, and a lot can go wrong in the foaling situation. You know, you can get a mare that has a really bad tear that's going to require medical intervention. You know, maybe they'll foal, maybe they want to wait for the foal to get, you know, 2 months old, or maybe they want it to be weaned, or maybe they got to go right in. But there's also instances, you know, where you're going to need to graft a foal onto a new mare. Do you guys do that? Because that's, you know, usually if you're doing the grafting, maybe that's what I'm more asking, but we can talk about all senses of, you know, the breeding part. Do you guys help with that? Because, you know, mirror grafting onto a foal can, you know, you kind of got to keep an eye on them pretty close for a while. And it's almost better if you kind of have a special setup available. So have you guys been involved in that?
We've gotten calls to treat umbilical cord issues on foals. I personally have been employed by a farm that did a lot of breeding and got some experience there. My manager of Equimen, Denver Hall, worked for a breeding farm in Kentucky and has experience there. So we are willing, on a case-by-case basis, right? So we're not the absolute perfect place for a mare and foal, but there are situations we can be quite valuable to the situation. So it's just going to be dependent on, is it the foal struggling or the mare struggling, or are they both struggling? We got a call where both of them were. And the way we can help. So it's a little bit case by case. We're willing to talk and be an option, but there are just some things that, like foaling out, we're not equipped for. But we are equipped to help rehab umbilical cord injuries or a mare with a very large tear, things like that.
Question: do you have video cameras in stalls that you can watch them?
We have ones that we can put in, but not every stall on our facility is equipped with that.
Do you foresee that being something in the future you might consider doing? Because I could see how beneficial that would be if you've got, you know, you had how many stalls? 30? How many was it? Yeah. So, you know, let's say you have 36 horses in, and, you know, it might be kind of nice to have a control room where you can, I don't know. I mean, do you have 36? That might be a little excessive. Yeah. The ability to kind of flow through and keep an, you know, especially horses who might be, you know, a little colicky, a little, you know, or getting a little high on themselves, and, you know, maybe they're rehabbing leg injury and they're starting to kind of tear up the stall and buck and act stupid, like, and, you know, maybe you can't necessarily be always right there.
Yeah, absolutely. I am saving and expanding and enhancing the facility every year. And we've done quite a lot of really cool projects to the place. I think even more important is security cameras on the dry lots, so we can see everything and respond quite quickly to one that starts to pace or gets a little silly, things like that. But you're absolutely right. And we move towards even more technology in this throughout the years we do this.
sky's the limit on technology. It's just whether the pocketbook has that sort of
Hey, like,
perspective.
God blessed me with an engineer father and a Russian husband. So even my brain, and then between the two of them, everything's possible.
Yeah, and farmers. I mean, Megan and I have been doing this now. It is less than a year. But we talk to a lot of people that are, farmer based, and farmers figure it out.
Yep.
They figure out ways to do it. They call on people they know, or we've seen some just ingenious ideas. So yes, we figure it out. But well, I love talking to you about all this. I think I'm out of my questions. What about you, Megan?
I'm great. Do you have anything you want to add that we've missed? Any questions
Yeah.
we've missed to tell our subscribers?
Mainly just look us up and kind of go through our website, see if we can help. Any questions? We also are there to consult on some of the rehab process. So if you have a horse that's tricky or struggling and you're far, far away, give us a call and we are willing to hear you out, help you share our experience with certain things. We're just a phone call away. So
well, thank you so much for your time. I wish you were closer, and I also wish when I had my horse colicking, I could have called you. Or actually after the surgery. Yeah, I think you offer a huge, huge benefit to the horse industry. My times of recovering horses have been far and few between, and it really lacks enjoyment for me. So I want to give a big thank you to you.
You're very welcome. Well, thanks for having me on, guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks so much for your time. We really appreciate it. And thanks for everybody who's tuned in here. We really appreciate it. Not a lot of questions or anything from the peanut gallery, but I've definitely put your website. I'm going to put it up again. People can find you there. Yeah, I'm kind of perusing your website off to to my right here. As you guys saw, I shared it, but lots of good information. Your contact information's on there. If you guys ever want to reach out to her, she's got the phone, the email, all that's on there. So go to that website there on the screen, right?
That's right.
Yeah, and subscribe to Barn Besties. But thanks so much. Have a great night, Katelyn. We really appreciate your time tonight.
See you,
Katelyn.
All right, bye. All right, Megan, we had a great live stream. Appreciate your time again tonight. Hope you're doing well at Lendon.
I'm crazy. Today was nuts, Steph. I wanted to post a bunch of things about Barn Besties, and I had no time to do it. It's just been go, 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 go. So hopefully Wednesday I'll settle down, but I doubt it because we have the farrier tomorrow. How about you?
Work. So
yeah,
I'll let you go. Have a good night.
All right. Have a great
Say
night.
goodbye to everybody. Bye, everybody.
Thank you to everyone watching.